Guys, welcome to another episode of Mat Men Podcast, your source for all things professional wreshling. I'm your host this week, Rich Stambolian, and joining me today, as he did last week, Mr. Gonzo, MG Geek, and we got Jonathan Risk on the horn too. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Yeah. You know, you fucked up my high energy intro with your slow-mo high.
Really?
Try it again with more energy.
Okay.
Hi, you're
Rich.
still recovering. There you go. I know you're still recovering from your SummerSlam weekend, and
we'll
also
talk a little bit
don't
about
ever
that.
look into the camera like that again.
But he does have those beautiful baby blues, Rich. He does have
You
beautiful
do.
baby blue eyes.
Those are contacts, right?
Yes.
He gets them at the smoke shop.
Natural contacts.
Guys, we're back again. Last week it was MG and myself doing the show. This week it's the repeat of that last week. Next week we're going to do something different. We're going to be doing some more cool and new stuff for you guys too. We're going to keep it nice and tight today. So if you have questions, we're going to do them either while we're streaming or at the end as per tradition. French Tony Khan unfortunately can't make it this week. Andrew's the only one he decides to call. He doesn't call anybody else. He doesn't want to talk to me.
He only has his number.
Doesn't want to talk to MG. He blocked our numbers. And at some point he will call Andrew when he comes back. But let's get started, man. And also, if you want to see MG dance, feel free to super chat us with the dance you want to see MG do. Listen, it's been working, man. I'm gonna pimp you. I'm gonna pimp you out.
I noticed that. Use me.
We're here to pimp MG.
I'm gonna pimp you out, man. I heard you like some MGs on you, MG.
A modern day exhibit.
Oh dear
MG,
God.
start us off.
All right. So let's get into let's run through these news. I'll get the boring stuff out of the way, the things that you hate.
Sure. Numbers.
So yeah, well, not even numbers. It's just so UFC and WWE, the TKO group, have the merged company. All the board of directors have been announced, and the key here is that Triple H is not one of the names. And I know people are freaking out a little bit, but I don't think it matters. And honestly, would you want to go to a board meeting? So the big names, Vince, of course, Ariel Emanuel from Endeavor, Nick Khan, and then the rest are all Endeavor people, except for Nancy Tellem, who's been there a while. So those are the names that are going to be doing this on this board of directors. I don't think Triple H not being on the board is a big deal. He's been there since 2015 on the WWE board, but I mean, it is what it is, man. You think it matters?
It doesn't.
No, I don't think it matters. It doesn't. I really don't think it matters at all. You know,
It's-
this is just
People
like business stuff. This is structuring. You know, their board.
This isn't really our forte for sure. I get it.
Right. Does Triple H need to be there? Probably not, especially since Vince is on the board, you know? And this is kind of this might be Vince's segue into hey, I'll do this. I'm sure there was internal conversations about it. It might be Vince saying I'll do this part. This is my share. And then you do what you do at WWE, you know, the main WWE, creative, etc., being Gorilla and all that stuff, which I think is a smart move, you know? As far as Vince making those creative decisions, I feel yes, it probably comes down to him at the end of the day, obviously. But listen, man, leave Triple H in charge. He'll do a absolutely great job.
I think he's doing a good job so far for the most part. We'll get into some of the issues I had this weekend, but we'll do that in a minute.
That's right. You were at SummerSlam this weekend, right?
Yeah. So, yes.
One other thing, MG.
Yes, sir.
Is the board of directors or the board members is also something that's taken care of throughout negotiations. So when when WWE is making or Endeavor's making the offer to purchase WWE, they're saying we'll give you X amount of money, X amount of seats on the board, XYZ, and it could be as simple as they couldn't negotiate an extra spot, and these people had a little more give in the corporate side. So
yeah, and they pretty much have already. This is from an SEC filing yesterday, so this has already been negotiated. So this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then
the merger is expected to be finished by the end of September. by the end of September Endeavor earnings call, which should be interesting. I feel like we're gonna end up doing reporting on that, and you'll probably hear Andrew's take on that too. He has way more insight than I do, or you, or Jonathan.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now you want to get into the fun, more of the wrestling stuff. So
yeah,
Saturday night Collision. It didn't do good against SummerSlam. 417,000 on TNT. I just watched it yesterday, so obviously because I was at SummerSlam. But yeah, it was CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, and it didn't do that great.
It's funny. I was out on Saturday night, and Sunday I chose to watch Collision first before SummerSlam because I was really excited about that main event. And it was a great wrestling show, I also didn't want to have like a WWE seizure, when like all those lights just hit you and you're a little hungover. It's not fun.
No, it is not.
Let's see. Okay, so AEW Full Gear. So this is interesting. Full Gear taking place in Los Angeles Saturday, November 18th at the Kia Forum. This means that it's going to preempt Collision. I wonder what they're going to do with Collision. Any thoughts? Are they going to skip it that week?
They'll probably pre-record it and then air it at another time, right?
Or
you know what I hope they do? I hope they do Sunday Night Heat, like do it an hour before live, and then go right into the show.
So my version of that is the old WCW, like in the late 80s, early 90s. They used to do their WCW Saturday night show at 6:00, and then at 7 they would go live in the building and do a pre-show. I wonder if they're going to do something like that, and then go live with the pay-per-view instead of doing the what is it, the 0 hour? They do it that way. Just a thought. I don't know. I think that might work. Let's see. Okay, I'm reading these. I'm reading these requests. I'm reading these requests, and it's really annoying me.
All right, let's move on. Bray Wyatt is closer to making a WWE return, as per Fightful. He had an illness that was said to be life-threatening and career-threatening. Man, I hope the guy's okay. What a talent! It's funny. I was thinking about him yesterday, and it would have been cool to see him at SummerSlam do something, but we're going to get this imminent return probably. Who knows when, probably Royal Rumble, if the guy's okay. And I could see him winning the Rumble if they really want to put that cart back on him again.
So he's an interesting character. I'm glad. So this was, I know Sean Ross had something on this. Everybody kept asking him about him, and he's like, he's just fighting an illness. So this is something very serious. And the thing with him is everybody asks when he's gone, and then he comes back and everybody's excited for 2 weeks, and then a program starts and people go, oh, and they get so depressed.
Well, you know what? I think they whiffed it a little bit with him with the LA Knight stuff, because if it was this LA Knight, that program would have been a lot more interesting. LA Knight's this is where he needs to be right now. And I think they could put some kind of secondary belt on him. Is he going to be the one to dethrone anybody, for like a US title or like the IC title? Gunther's coming up on beating Honky Tonk's record, so who's going to be the next guy to hold that
month
bet?
Away, I think
it's like 39 or it's less than a month away. Or actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's a little over a month away. We got 2 super chats here. Cadillac Carson, $4.99. MG, the Macarena, do it. You're contractually obligated to do these. You know that. When somebody super chats us, you got to dance, bud.
I didn't know this was going to become a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
So how's that go? It's out. Out, something weird like that.
Is that
I'm supposed to turn?
There you go. Is that how you dance?
Cadillac,
out. That's out. That's how you get the hookers to leave, right? out, and then you start dancing at them. Batcher $3,000.99 geek. Do the Alex Wright dance for your boy. Ooh, throwback.
Oh man, how did that go? How did that go? It went.
That one I don't know.
See, So it was like this, right? Was it something like this? And was he, or was it back, or was he shaking his hips? I can't remember. It was one of those.
I think it was a wide hip shake. You got to give this guy his money's worth, man. Bachelor's a friend of the show.
Bring it around town. There you go.
Something like that. It was something. He got really aggressive with the hips, if I do recall.
It's the one hand up, and it's like the wiggle from the bottom. It's like he's rolling the dice.
It was like
no. It's up here.
Oh yeah, it was right here. Yeah, okay, it was like that, and he was kind of into it and all that.
We need the thank you, daddy change noise for all of these. All right, let's move on.
Was like, hell no. Yeah, let's move on, please.
Dude, we're gonna get like 10 of these, man. We're gonna make $1,000 today with you dancing.
Negative. We're gonna get like negative views. Okay. All right. So where were we? So the numbers were announced for SummerSlam. 59,191 was what it was. WrestleTix says it was around 51,000. I can tell you, yes, it was not 59. So the minute they announced that, I looked over at Suncast, who was with me, and I said, there's not 59,000 people here. But
did you count?
Yeah. No, it's just you kind of tell. I know it's just subjective to look, but yeah. Anywho, most watched SummerSlam of all time, 8.5 million gate. Merchandise sales was up. I will talk a minute about the merchandise because it's something I think Rich will get a kick out of. And then, highest or most merchandise for any non WrestleMania, up 60% from last year. So yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good, man. Like it's not, like WWE fudges those numbers sometimes, Now, as far as like the crowd at the arena, like from the pictures that you were posting and the pictures you sent us, it looked like a pretty packed house.
Oh yeah, it was. It was for what it was. So I'll talk a little bit more about this in a second, but they the way they had it set up, there was one side of the building that was one of the end zones essentially was chopped off, and they had a black curtain there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what they did, and then that's where the tech stuff was, and when in the main event when Roman and Jay fought out in the crowd, they were like right there in front of the tech stuff. So, yeah. That was that. So NXT averaged 776,000 viewers Tuesday with Dominic Mysterio on the show. That's the best viewership in 2 years. And NXT has been better to watch, I think, because they're moving so many main roster stars through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like it kind of falls by the wayside with me.
It's just hard.
I wish I had time. I wish I had time to watch NXT, where it's like I'd rather I don't want to say I'd rather do something productive, but as far as like the wrestling content goes, I watch Raw half and half. So I'll watch like half of Raw and like on Monday live. And then like at around like, let's say like 9:30, I kind of zone out, start getting ready for bed. And then I'll watch the rest of it like another time, like I'll DVR it. Same thing with NXT. Like NXT, I'll record it and I'll fast forward through it. Impact, I'll watch the highlights. SmackDown, if I'm home, like generally it'll be on. And Rampage, I'm asleep by the time Rampage is on. So like I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there who feel the same way. And then Saturday, Sunday, maybe I'll catch up on New Japan or something like that. There is so much wrestling out there that it's bananas.
I haven't been able to keep up with New Japan at all. I've really wanted to. I'm probably going to I'll try to watch the finals. We'll talk about that too. So you want to rap a little about SummerSlam? I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. So I did
Well, you told me you were there. So you were there. You had a great time. You hitchhiked, from what I understand. You hitchhiked all the way to the arena.
Well,
and then you snuck in. You found an entrance on the other side of the arena and snuck in.
You snuck something in on like the bus.
Right on. So I did a video released a couple days ago on the channel, going through all this, all the stuff that I saw, and going around, going to the arena. Rich, I got to tell you, you would have loved it because all the belt guys. There is so many belts there, and merch. Just the sheer amount of merch walking around the streets of Detroit before that show was insane.
Oh, I can imagine. I do like to people watch. Tell me more.
Yeah. So the superstore was down by where Suncast and I parked. So when we were walking up, people were walking, and it occurred to me, I goes, do all these people bring their belts with them? Oh no, they buy them there, and then they are forced to carry them for the next 6 hours or however long.
Probably longer than that. Like, so when we went to Vegas like 2 years ago, it was like we saw belt guys get on the plane wearing their belts. Like, so I assume that's the way to not. I assume that's the way to avoid checking it in and paying for an extra like bag, right? So like there were tons of dudes like on flights just like with their belts on the airplane, and I'm like, that's nuts. That's a little too much. I'm not knocking the belt guys, but sometimes the belt guys get a little out of hand, like they think they're the champions, and we've been to a lot of shows where like the belt guys try to start stuff with like the wrestlers, and it's really bizarre. It's almost like you take a step back, like you're in this surreal like nonsense world where it's like, come on, guy, just sit down. Like, stop yelling at these guys for no effing reason. It's not fun.
It was 1 out of 5. Literally 1 out of 5 people it felt like had a belt, and kids belts, the big belts. And I'm like, and I looked at Suncast and I goes, Suncast, you know how much one of those cost? Because I don't think he did. And I goes, they're like $399 last I checked, maybe $400. For a belt on WWE on their website, and who knows if they marked it up any in person, but man, so that I'm like, that's like 4 guys right there. That's $1,200 just walking around the streets of Detroit. So
did you get tempted? Were you gonna stick these guys up? That's why you went there, right? You were gonna just do a bunch of robberies.
God, you make a criminal out of me, I swear.
Hey, listen, I'm just telling the truth, baby.
We're just reporting the news.
Just reporting the news, man. I'm an unbiased reporter over here. So continue. So a lot of merch. You're having fun.
Rhea Ripley shirts everywhere. Mommy shirts.
Cool.
Cool. LWO. They were like the
one.
That's cool.
Yeah. So kind of want to just, I don't know. Do you want to? Okay, let's do it this way. What matches did you like, Rich? As far as SummerSlam,
let's just go over the card, okay, and then we'll talk about your reactions to it.
Yeah. All right.
So, if you guys want to check out MG's experience, we put it on our channel earlier this week. Give it a shot. He goes into great detail about the entire time, excluding all the drugs and drinks he did.
Yeah, I omitted that. I flat out saying there were parts I missed because I got up to do things.
But it's okay. He was doing like real old drugs. He was doing like Quaaludes and shit from like 1978. Logan Paul defeated Ricochet in a 17-minute match. This was fun. Logan Paul definitely needed the win. How did the crowd react there, MG?
This match went on first because I'm glad it did. It got the crowd was hyped up for this, and the people I talked to and friends of mine went to, they all loved Logan Paul. Everybody was like, he's awesome. That match got over very well live. Now, there's something I wanted to mention. I mentioned in the video too. One of the bigger issues was the way the stage setup is. I know people like the simple stage where they walk down the aisleway and it's lit up. You can't see shit in the building.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they didn't have there's 2 huge screens in Ford Field, enormous screens on either end in each end zone, which you can see everything. The problem is when the entrances started happening, they turned on their logos, their Tron entrances, instead of showing us the entrance live. So if it seemed flat in the building, that was one reason why for the entrances. And I thought it took away from some of the presentation of the wrestlers. But yeah,
Okay.
As far as this match goes, the ending was good. There was some cool Spanish fly spots on the outside that I thought looked brutal live. But yeah, pretty good.
I totally call that Spanish fly spot too.
Did you?
Yes, I did on last week's show. I'm like, this guy's gonna bust out some Spanish flies.
Yeah, and they did him on the. So, go ahead.
Cody beating Brock. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Really, really excellent presentation, especially for Cody, and a really good presentation for Brock. Because somehow this is gonna make Brock come back like stronger than ever, right?
Yeah, it did a couple of things. I like the fact, first of all, I think it left Cody in a better place than he was. So Absolutely. He's elevated just a little bit. In the building, it was hard to follow the story of this match because we couldn't hear what Brock was saying the entire time. And it turned out he was trying to get mercy on Cody and just stay down. And then
did you watch it when you got back home?
I watched it Sunday, and then I go, oh, now I get it. Okay,
right. Yeah, because it was very clear on the event itself. You know, like he was mic'd very well, probably purposefully. You know, everything he was yelling at Cody came through loud and clear.
Yeah, definitely. So I like this. Was once I watched it back, I was like, oh, now I get it. So Suncast didn't like this match at all because it was not a good style for him. First of all, he was spoiled. He's been to 2 wrestling matches or wrestling events in his life, and one was all out in 2 years ago when
That's
we
tough
all
to
went.
beat. Yeah.
So he's like, I didn't get that, and I understand why. If you're not this whole show, if you weren't involved in some of the storylines, it might have been hard to keep up, especially live with what was going on.
I could see that. But you know what? I do feel like the WWE live crowd almost doesn't care. They just want to see their people. Yeah. You know, they want to see the Brock, the Cody, especially like the Roman, you know.
Brock is huge live, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He's a giant dude. You can see him from the moon. LA Knight wins the Slim Jim Battle Royal. We kind of call that that's the good choice. You know, I kind of wish it was for
he got such a loud pop.
I wish it was for something tangible, you know.
I think it's going to elevate him. I think he's going to get. I think this is going to lead to the U.S. title. It should. It definitely should.
I'm cool with
that. We had Gunther and Drew McIntyre. Gunther defeated Drew McIntyre to retain the IC title.
Love this match.
Did you? This match started out kind of plotting, and it did pick up. And once they started chopping, the crowd came with them. It was like they knew what was about to happen, and yeah, it was definitely brutal.
Very European style match, and like a very interesting, like almost like New Japan style finish. You know, where Gunther realized he had to put this guy away quick and hit him with like that 3-move upset. Yeah, you know. Commentary put these guys over like big time, like very well deserved. You know, like Corey, I feel like Corey Graves on commentary for this particular show was on fire. You know, I think he took his commentary to the next level, and Michael Cole too. Like people always like disregard Michael Cole, but like, man, he is one of the best, and they're really doing such a good job lately to make all these guys and girls look and seem like $1 million. You know, it's very like they found their pocket as far as commentary goes.
Yeah, and speaking of commentary, I didn't add it in, but it should be noted that they have switched up the commentary teams going forward because apparently both Fox and USA wanted Michael Cole on commentary. So cool. All right on. So then we got my match of the night. Seth Rollins defeated Finn Balor.
Are you skipping the Shayna Baszler Ronda match?
Oh, am I?
That was his bathroom break, man.
We both. Okay, so we need.
So you skipped it. You walked out. You were like, I gotta go.
Yeah. He was
no. I'm sorry. I did skip it, didn't I? So okay. So the Shayna Baszler Ronda Rousey match. This match stunk in the building. So they had all they had to do was put up a graphic explaining the rules. people were yelling around, going, "Does anybody know the rules of this match in our section?" Because there was no explanation. So if you don't follow MMA, you probably didn't understand what the rules were. Someone had to go, "Oh, I'm listening to it on Peacock, and they said that it's just knockout or tap out. Those are the rules." And I'm like, they could have just put a graphic up and fixed this.
Or have somebody come out and announce it, and say like following is an MMA style rules match, knockout or submission.
They didn't say that. They just said MMA rules. And so the match starts and everybody is just sitting on their hands. Nobody had any clue where to go with it. I was glad to see Shayna get a win. Because I think they're elevating her probably for Rhea Ripley down the road. I don't know when, but that's what I sensed, at least, especially on Raw the next night.
So that was your bathroom break, clearly.
And, which I did not go to the bathroom for.
You just fell asleep for 7 minutes. And you're saying your favorite match of the night was Seth Rollins beating Finn Balor to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. It's almost a 20-minute match. Great match.
The crowd was on fire for the near falls for this. This was fun to watch live. Almost as much. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. I would say almost as much as that tag cage match at All Out we seen. But this wasn't as good as that by far, for sure. But this was really good as far as engaging the crowd. And then, the ending saw almost like one. And then when Judgment Day came out with Damian Priest, the crowd popped for that as well. So I like the ending. It's going to set up something with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, it looks like. So
obviously, cool. Yeah, I think that's where they're going. Triple threat match: Bianca Belair defeating Asuka and Charlotte Flair to win the WWE Women's Championship, but her defeat. Her win wasn't going to last very long. I thought this was going to be her moment of the night. Io Sky beats Bianca Belair to win the WWE Women's Championship, cashing in her Money in the Bank in 8 seconds. How did you feel about this? Did you cry? Did you go nuts? Did you do a backflip?
I very much enjoyed it. So in the building, Bianca wins, and everybody was pulling for Bianca. Bianca wins, and I swear, the second Io's music hit, everybody, oh damn! And Bianca's like sitting there, and then Io sprints to the ring, and I'm like, this girl's fast. And then she gets it.
Yeah, he was chasing after her.
Yeah, so she wins. Oh my!
He's like, another one got away.
I was on the other side of the building, silly.
Why are all the girls I like?
Now you're making
all the girls I like so fast.
Oh dear.
So good. All right, so
I swear I'm not a creep, people.
That just makes it worse. It makes it so much worse.
So Io wins, and those same people who are cheering for Bianca, like 45 seconds earlier, are now like, "Oh my God, she won!" So, and they were cheering for her. So it was a feel good moment. It was cool.
Okay. Was that the end of your thought?
That's all I have. How can I
cool.
follow any? How can I really say anything else, dude?
All right. Main event: Tribal Chief Combat. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman defeated Jey Uso to retain the WWE Universal Championship. Yeah, this was a long match with a long intro.
Was too long.
Do you think they whiffed it? Like, did it come across in the arena because the reaction online was very much that WWE screwed up this storyline? I kind of disagree with that. There was a confusing moment at the end with Solo, but I thought they did the Jimmy heel turn like very good. And honestly, I thought he was going to say, "I'm sorry, I love you," before he super kicked Jey.
That would have been kind of cool. But so in the building, yes, the first 10 minutes of the match could have been condensed, maybe 15. Could have been intense down to about 5, because this was what was it, 36 minutes. They could have chopped 10 minutes off this thing and been told a similar story. And
how was the pop for Roman in the arena?
Oh, huge! Lots of boos, lots of very engaging. They're present there. There was something I didn't put in my other video that I thought was a really cool ode to Detroit. So when Jimmy came out, if you notice, did you notice what he did on the ropes? He was doing the 8 Mile. He was doing the 8 Mile scene. Scene where Eminem gets the crowd going. Yeah. He was doing that, and people picked up on it and started doing it with him. So that was pretty cool. I didn't realize later. I was like, that. Oh my god, he just did the 8 Mile scene. So that was pretty cool. That got a big reaction.
I know.
Is that your favorite movie? Is that your favorite movie since you're from Michigan?
I like that movie a lot. Yeah.
It's the only
That's your favorite movie. It's the only movie you've seen.
No, I've seen others.
That and Die Hard, just over and over.
So let's talk about this. Like, do you feel like that ending was a good ending? Do you see the Bloodline stuff going forward? Like, where does Roman go next? Like, who's the next challenger? Does this just become Roman and Jimmy versus Solo? And that was the confusing part. The Solo thing was a little weird. I feel like it didn't come across how they wanted.
Yeah, they're setting up something for him and Roman, I'm sure, going into the fall. I'm convinced Roman's holding this title until Mania, and then maybe we finally get the story is that they do want to circle back to Cody at some point.
That'd be cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I did feel like, first of all, if you didn't, so one of the biggest complaints of casuals, and Suncast was on this, on board with this, there wasn't a huge, oh my god, didn't see that coming surprise. Unless if you've been following this Bloodline story, Jimmy turning was that surprise. But if not, there wasn't really anything like major that happened that you like casual fans or lapsed fans could stick their teeth into. So
I thought this was a good SummerSlam. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Crowd was fire. It looked great, but like I said, like, I was at an open bar event the night before. So seeing those lights on a Sunday, seeing those lasers on a Sunday, like that was not good. Let's see. We could skip Raw.
I got a question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not SummerSlam related, but just a question I've been wondering all week. Who do you think the better mommy is, Chyna or Rhea?
Rhea. Oh, Rhea.
Rhea's the better mommy?
Rhea, 100%. Yeah, Rhea, 100%. Like,
90s Chyna still does it for me.
90s Chyna's great. Well, my favorite Chyna was Eddie Guerrero Chyna.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that is the one.
That Chyna versus Rhea is the competition I had in mind.
Yeah. I think Rhea is like, they molded Rhea to be like one of the ultimate female superstars going forward in that company. From like her NXT days to now, it's a really excellent evolution, and she's gonna be like a multiple time champ. I don't know as much as Charlotte, but definitely, she's gonna hold like those lady belts a ton. And who knows, maybe she'll jump ship at some point and come back. I feel like that's what now. Engaged to Buddy Murphy. Big congratulations to Rhea Ripley and Buddy Murphy. She broke kayfabe by posting that.
Yeah. It would have been funny if in the background of the picture Dominic was just there crying.
Just hanging out there.
So let's go. Let's do these Raw highlights really quick. Chad Gable wins a 4-way to be the next challenger for Gunther. That's going to be fun. I think Gunther's going to destroy him. I feel like it's just going to be a squash match.
But they're elevating. They're giving him something. I'm happy for Chad Gable for that, for sure.
Nakamura. I took this as revenge for Okada. Nakamura defeating Bronson Reed. LA Knight is set up to feud with The Miz. That makes sense. I feel like the Gatekeeper transitioned from Dolph Ziggler directly to The Miz to see who will start main eventing. Miz has been there for a long time. He's a great gatekeeper for that main event. If you can work with The Miz, he'll probably teach you a thing or two. There's a reason why they paired up Logan Paul with the guy, and Tommaso Ciampa is another good example too. We got the New Day return, defeating the Viking Raiders. Great. The Viking Raiders, I do feel like have grown a little bit stale.
Probably.
What do you think? Do you think they need to jump ship, go back to Ring of Honor, or are they kind of like a WWE act at this point?
They're WWE act. I think they'll cycle them back in. Yeah. Well, they already Viking Raiders are heel.
Well, I'm saying turn them heel by making them go corporate. I want corporate Raiders.
Well, you got that. You can't. Well, okay, so you kind of got that with the Street Profits now. The Street Profits in the Hurt Business. I think that's their version of being corporate.
If that's what they call that. If that's what they end up calling that. I don't know what it's going to end up being.
It's New Day 2.0 in my head.
Yeah, I disagree with that. You also had Seth Rollins, Sammy, and Nakamura defeating the Judgment Day after Shinsuke attacked Rollins, setting up the next title feud. Listen, that's
pretty much the highlight of that whole show. Is that
I don't think
section.
I don't think this belt should be held onto for very long, and I think this would be like a fun hot potato belt. So you know what? Give Nakamura his due. Let them have a 5-star match. Put that belt on Nakamura. And then enter some other.
You just want it on Nakamura.
Yeah,
I hope they put it on him. I would like to see it, and I do agree. Now, Andrew, when Andrew does these, he always talks about the lineage, and you want to build up some credibility in the lineage. So having Nakamura's name on there might be a good thing, definitely for those international fans.
I think so. I think just fans in general. Like at this point, Nakamura has solidified himself as like a WWE guy. I think very slim chance he would ever go back to New Japan, maybe for like a retirement thing. In the next few years. And the guy's getting up there in age too.
Right on.
So hit me with those Collision highlights, MG.
We're just gonna breeze through these. But CM Punk defeated Ricky Starks. Starks attacked Ricky Steamboat after the match. Apparently, they're not done with this angle. I just watched this. I thought that match was fantastic. So I got to tell you, from a wrestling standpoint and from just a pure entertainment, Collision is a way better show for me personally to watch than Dynamite. Okay. My age and everything, it just comes off more as an old school wrestling show to me.
Okay. Keep going.
And then so FTR challenged the Young Bucks for Wembley. That happened. And also Samoa Joe challenged CM Punk. So we're getting two really, really solid matches for the All In card that got set up on Collision.
I think Punk versus Joe is gonna effing rock.
Yeah. And we'll see where they're going with that Ricky Steamboat, Ricky Starks angle. If that leads anywhere, if that just is a one-off. So you want to go into Dynamite?
Yeah, let's do it. Jericho Appreciation Society had a mandatory meeting where they all left Jericho hanging. It was it was a good opener, where everybody was just kind of like, "Shut up, you did nothing for me," blah blah blah. And Jericho is somehow looking he's looking young. Like whatever he's doing with his skincare and his hair.
I think it's some makeup. I think it's a lot of makeup, but definitely.
The Young Bucks versus the Hardys, with the Bucks winning. Great. Accepting the challenge at Wembley from FTR. That's going to be a banging match. Adam Cole and MJF go to Trampoline Park. That was fine.
Oh my. So how'd you feel about this?
I'm fine with it. I think that there's a lot to be said about this feud that's going to happen, and it's interesting. Like them challenging for the Ring of Honor tag team titles is very interesting. I could see them win them, and MJF not wanting to do double duty that night was pretty funny. But as a wrestling fan, and I'm not knocking Adam Cole or MJF, but as a wrestling fan, do you feel like this is the proper main event for the Wembley show?
No, I agree with you. I think there's going to be. So rumor is there's going to be a big 6-man tag with Kenny and oh gosh, I had it. It was Kota Ibushi and somebody else against the Bullet Club Gold guys. So that's what, or something like that. That seems like a bigger match than this to me. Now, I'm all right with this, but it feels like foregone conclusion that there won't be a title change. So I don't know where you go.
Well, is that Ospreay and Jericho match set in stone, or is that just a rumor from like a month ago?
It was a rumor, but I think I haven't heard any updates on it. I'm sure we're going to find out this week. We almost have to know this week. So there's that.
I think it's going to be a great. Listen, these guys, if this is the planned main event, it's going to be a banger. You know, these guys are going to put on like a 25-star match, right?
Well, they're gonna, and there's going to be a lot of comedy aspects in it, and things like that. That trampoline park thing, I felt like it could have been left on the cutting room floor. It felt too hokey almost, because it was clear he wasn't actually throwing freaking balls at children.
Well, I thought that was kind of funny. Are you transitioning into old man wrestling at this point?
to a point, but not really.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Watch, like in the next couple of weeks.
Get off my lawn.
You're gonna be like, Jack Perry.
Back in my day, 20-minute headlocks was mandatory.
This was a fun match. Jack Perry beating Rob Van Dam in an FTW rules match to retain the FTW title. Listen, I thought this was great. I thought RVD looked fantastic.
Awesome. Really good.
Are they going to sign him to a light schedule, or is this just like a one-off? Is Jack Perry going to continue to dominate ECW alums?
Well, who's left? Bully Ray? That's the only one I can think of that's active.
Sandman?
Sandman?
I don't think Sabu can do much. I don't think he can have like a 20-minute match with
Sabu. Still hasn't gotten up from that chair spot he did at the last.
He doesn't have to do a match. They could do a back. They could do a behind the scenes he jumps him type thing in the locker room.
Lance is a good option. There's a lot of guys who are still around. You know.
Yeah.
I would, now that we don't really cover Impact, but Team 3D is getting back together on Impact, first time in 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say that Bubba and or Devon can't show up if they hash out that relationship again?
Yeah, I don't know how much Devon can do. From last I remember, he was pretty banged up. It'll be interesting where they go with that. I do like this new Jack Perry, this kind of Hollywood vibe he's giving off. So more power to him, man. Mm-hmm.
Shane Douglas, you got Shane Douglas. Like I said last week, you have Shane Douglas. You got Tajiri. Tajiri would be.
Tajiri would be a good one.
This is the shit that I would go nuts for. You had your tag team match, Jon Moxley and Claudio Classic Noli. I said that wrong. Defeating the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix. This was a fun match. Moxley, I think somebody breathed in his direction and he just started bleeding from his temple. And the announcers were trying to make the excuse that, it's all the scar tissue that he's accumulated over the years. This was a fun match. You also left out what I thought was a great moment. Swerve coming out with the Embassy.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did forget that. Mm-hmm.
Him and AR Fox kind of calling out Darby Allin. AR Fox wearing Nick Wayne's bloody tank top. Really good stuff. Darby saying, hey, you got friends, but I got friends too. Boom. It's the stinger. Did you flip out for this?
I liked it. So I'm surprised I forgot to put that in here. So I'm like, okay, Sting's coming out, right? In a minute. And then the lights went out for a really long time. And finally they came back, and of course he's in the ring behind him with the bat. Yeah. And I did like I love when he takes the bat and puts it to their throats. So you're
a big Sting guy.
Yeah. I mean, going way back, it was my first really, really, he was my guy, like early on, like in the 80s. So I really did enjoy it.
Back in his day.
Back in my day.
You were a Surfer Sting guy.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then when the Joker Sting happened, I was like all for it, but it was such a slow burn because he didn't wrestle for 15 months. So.
Well, how do you feel about this kind of like combination of like Sting Crow Sting and Joker Sting, because that's sort of what he's going for.
He's going back to the Joker Sting. I noticed he brought that back. I'm all right with that. I thought that was cool when he did it in TNA. It was something different. It changed his character, and he knows he needs to change it up every now and again to keep people guessing. And I kind of liked it. Because he definitely was doing and he had the cheeks on his makeup, or the smile. The Joker smile.
It's going to be a fun match. It's going to be a good. It's going to be a good match at Wembley. Main event of Dynamite: Hikaru Shida defeating Anna Jay to return the AEW Women's Title. This is fine. It was an okay main event. Not my favorite, but
no,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, I liked it. There's I loved Angela Parker trying to stopping Hikaru Shida. From doing her move. And getting involved and still being, even though they left the JAS, they're still coming out with Anna Jay, so it gives them something to do. I would like to see Menard and Parker get a good tag run going forward, because they are a good team.
Yeah.
They just been pigeonholed into this comedy routine in NXT, and then when they came over here.
Well, I think they're doing a lot better now because they weren't paired up with a legend on NXT. No. And I also think that AEW is kind of like low key rejiggering the tag team division a little bit and putting a little more emphasis on it.
Yeah.
Like how it used to be like almost 4 years ago, right?
Right. Oh yeah. So they announced a 4-way for All In for the women. Tony Storm gets a bye, and everyone else had to qualify. And this was the first qualifier for that match, even though, so if Anna Jay would have won, Hikaru Shida would have been out of the 4-way, but clearly she was going to be in it. So I like this. This was good. So Rampage tonight, Saraya versus Sky Blue, with the winner advancing to the 4-way. Darby Allin takes on Brian Cage. Orange Cassidy defends against the international title against Johnny TV.
Great.
Yippee.
Great. Talk to me about Collision.
House of Black. This is going to be fun, dude. This is Collision. House of Black. House of Black. Boy, say that 10 times. I want to go back. There was one thing on this last week's Collision I thought was funny with the House of Black.
Okay.
Julia Hart's real life boyfriend is Shadi Lee.
Okay.
And they were facing his team. So the House of Black allows you to have a rule, to make a rule in the match. And the rule was, he said Julia Hart has to leave. I don't know if you've seen this. It was online. And and he was patting himself on the back like, I did a good thing. You just told your girlfriend to leave the ring, and on the way out, she stared back at him. And I don't know if they intended to catch it, but she looked up at him and said, "You're cut off."
Yeah, I must have missed that.
Let's
go into Collision.
Little thing. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. So House of Black defends against CM Punk and FTR. This definitely is going to be a lot of fun. Acclaimed will be Claimed in action, and then Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Martinez and D Monte.
Wow. All right, Dynamite next week. Britt Baker versus the Bunny, with the winner advancing to the women's title match at All In. I think Britt Baker's shoo-in, right? Jim Ross sits down with Kenny Omega. This is going to be fun. I feel like this is gonna set him up for whatever he's gonna do at All In, and I think it should be big. If Jericho's not facing Ospreay, it should be Kenny Omega facing Ospreay. And it's kind of funny that he would be defending the U.S. title at a British at a show in England.
Well, I don't know. So I have a feeling, this is just my hunch on All In, this is going to be more working with Rev Pro if they're going to bring in people from London and not New Japan, is my guess. Right. But Ospreay does both, so that makes sense. So, right. I mean, the rumor is it's going to be the rumor I heard today, or reading through some of the Observer, was the plan might be to do a 6-man at All In and then come back and do the Takeshita Kenny Omega match 1-on-1 in Chicago the week later. When that does make sense. So if that's the way they're going, And they're going to more build to the MJF Adam Cole match. And then Darby Allin and Nick Wayne versus Gates of Agony.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be a solid, hard-hitting match. Those guys are great. The current All-In card is MJF defends against Adam Cole, FTR versus the Bucks, Hikaru Shida defends against Tony Storm. We're not going to give away the spoiler. Saraya or Sky Blue, or Britt Baker, or the Bunny. And there's a coffin match: Sting and Darby Allin versus Swerve and AR Fox. That's going to be.
That's what this. I can't believe that's where we end with this. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of bells and whistles. They're going to do smoke and mirrors and everything under the sun, and we're going to love it.
Yeah,
Sting's going to jump off something high.
And then possibly Samoa Joe versus CM Punk.
Yeah, that's not official yet, but it more than likely will be. And then others. What else? Are there other matches you want to see that isn't on here?
You know, we talked about that rumored Jericho Ospreay match, and I think that would be a fun show opener. You know, if they went that far, I wouldn't mind seeing like a big trios match with House of Black against somebody new, maybe. Who knows? You know, some more Ring of Honor stuff, possibly some surprises. You know, it's already a stacked card. You know, the rumored card is pretty stacked.
They do need to add some star power to this. I would really love it. I really love some like good something that people aren't expecting to happen here, or bring in. Like there's a bunch of people. Someone said in chat said Grado maybe do something on the show.
Grado would be fun.
Yeah, somebody definitely going to be some British talent that we're not thinking of that's going to end up on this card. That'll be awesome.
Let's jump into questions. How do you feel about that?
Ready to go into questions? I'm good with questions. Right. Well, I'll just mention it real quick. G1 Climax, the semifinals, I think are tonight or this morning or tomorrow morning. It will be Naito versus Will Ospreay and Evil versus Okada. I feel like they need. Will Ospreay's in the mix, Evil's in the mix, but I feel like Naito and Okada have been in every one of these for like the last 10 years.
Listen, those guys, we've talked about this on the show several times. Like whenever Wrestle Kingdom happens, New Japan loves to stick to the same guys forever, you know? If you looked at those past Wrestle Kingdoms, the top of the card has been pretty much the same shuffle of wrestlers for the last few years, you know? Okada, Tanahashi, Naito, Evil got in there somehow. And now it's going to be Sonata, which is great, you know? But again, they're sticking to that formula, and it's been working so far. You know, Ospreay, I think, would be a phenomenal. I think this might be Ospreay's year to win the G1, to be honest.
I could see that. Definitely. Now, one thing that they don't always do is usually the champions in the semifinals, at least. And Sonata got beat, so you know, definitely a different dynamic of what they do. But they always seem to end up with a very similar looking final four when it comes down to the end every.
That's not a complaint either. It's just, you know, it's
no. It's an observation more than anything. But yeah, so we both taking Will Ospreay to win it come Sunday.
Yeah. I think Ospreay's taking it. Cool. Guys, it's been fun hanging out with you. Please submit your questions in the chat. If you want to super chat is any amount, and it's totally cool. If you want to see MG dance, we are only accepting super chats for those dancing. I think we lost Jonathan, or he fell asleep.
Nope, I'm here.
But
I'm here.
Let's go. MG, can you throw the questions on the screen?
I got the questions. Here's the first super chat question.
All right.
How many women's matches do we see at All In?
2.
Think it's going to be 2? Well, we're going to have the 4-way. We know that. T1 the secondary title, the TBS title, probably will be defended. Chris Statlander will probably defend against somebody. Maybe that's where you bring in a British one of the women from over there to face her.
If Jamie Hayter's healthy, that would be amazing.
Jamie Hayter, it sounds like it's going to be most of this year. So it doesn't seem healthy. Yeah, she would be. They would have. I think they would have penciled her in. She would have got the biggest pop. So, unfortunately, maybe she'll show up, make an appearance, but I don't think that's likely.
I think there's going to be 2. I think there's going to be that 4-way, and it would be fun if they did a battle royal for the number 1 contender to either the TBS title or the AEW women's title.
They could do something
just
like that.
Just to get everybody on the card. I think that would be a lot of fun.
You got to wonder too with a show the very next week. There are going to be some matches that are going to set up the next week,
right?
So maybe that's what they do with one of those women matches.
What else do we got?
Next question is from Clear the Air with E. And he asked, #Ask Mattman, thoughts on Cole/MJF. MJF has been the workhorse during tag matches with Cole. Cole is softening up MJF on 0 Hour. Fake injury angle with MJF, ? Or Cole turns on MJF? What say you guys?
So the big question here is who's turning on who? And everybody seems to think that that's going to happen. What would happen if they just had a really solid match and there was no shenanigans? I don't know. If one's turning on the other, I still say MJF's turning on Cole. But there seems to be, they're setting up something, and Roddy Strong is involved. Him being the hurt girlfriend and all this, for lack of a better word.
Well, here's another scenario. Think about it. If this is really the main event to the Wembley show, you need to end it in a way that comes across how it's supposed to, right? Now, if Adam Cole turns on MJF, does he get a pop? British crowds can be very interesting when it comes to that. Like if they're behind the guy, it doesn't matter what he does.
Adam
MJF
Cole's really over. I think he will get a pop.
If he turns on MJF, if he turns on like babyface MJF, he'll get a big pop, right? Is that what you want? Or because this match has to end. This has to have a screwy finish.
Yeah, for sure. It has to have something weird. So here's my question: is MJF a face or is he a disingenuous face? So that's my question there. Because it's you could tell it's like, dude, you're just laying it on thick. We know you're absolutely full of shit. At least that's how it comes off to me.
He's ascended to that level of a Randy Orton / Ric Flair type babyface where you really, no matter what, you just don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're gonna turn. Right?
The injury angle is smart. I think if he's like, you're wearing me out by doing double duty just so you could win. It's very interesting,
Just to put it this way, there is a reason they're doing that match. They're setting up something that's going to happen that's going to lead into the main event. So it will keep you in the crowd. It will keep you engaged the entire time.
All
Let's see what else we got.
Question from Large23 says, "Hey MG, how loud is the crowd when Cody's song is playing?"
Oh my gosh! So I didn't even mention that. So Cody's entrance, when it starts and we get to the whoa part, where everybody's singing along, it was deafening, absolutely deafening. That and Seth Rollins, those are the only 2 entrances that got over with the crowd because people knew the sing along parts. But Seth Rollins standing in the middle of the ring, with his hands in the air for 2.5 minutes, and they don't always show this on TV, but he literally stood there like that. And then when he dropped his arms, it was like the entire building just stopped singing. It was on cue. It was really cool. So
good for Seth, man. I think he's one of those guys that fully adapted to the Vince McMahon style circus.
Yes.
Did you see what he was wearing on Monday?
The
Astro Boy boots and the blue suit. Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think was the first entrance music that had like a sing along? What was the first one that you guys remember?
I want to say it might be like at some point a Hogan. Just the crowd kind of going nuts for it, because it's real American.
That one. If you want to go way back, Vince McMahon's music. is one I remember. The No Chance.
Vince, absolutely. Freebirds.
Freebirds is another one.
Yeah, if you want to go back that far, for sure.
Yeah.
Next question we have from Cadillac Carson. Hashtag Ask Matt Man. Thank you for the dance, MG. It made my Friday. Guys, I've heard that this has been one of the worst G1s. Do you agree?
It's been good. There's a lot of highlights. There's a lot of surprises. I give it extra points just because Eddie Kingston's in it, and he's like living his dream. So it's nice to see that. And now he's like tagging with Ishii, which I find amazing.
Yeah, you can tell he's having a time of his life over there. So good for him. As far as it being bad, unfortunately I haven't been able to keep up on all of it. So I don't really have any one way or the other to say if it's been good or bad, but I am going to watch these last few matches and check them out and see. But it's a spectacle every year, and it's just good wrestling. I always love the tournament style, the round robin. Kevin Kelly does such a good job portraying it. So
this guy's still talking. Himself? I think he muted himself.
MG, you muted yourself.
This guy got so excited he muted himself.
Nope, you're dead.
Just wait till Andrew comes back, man. You're so fucking fired. You're so fucking fired.
Well, everyone, thank you for watching Batman. MG is tuned out.
Let's do the last question. MG, nod if you can still hear us.
Yeah, okay.
I read his lips. Let's do the last question, and then we're going to get out of here.
From the Shadow Ranger, hashtag Ask Matt Men. You're challenging the House of Black to a house rules match. What two wrestlers do you choose as your partners, and what is your dealer's choice rule?
All right, dealer's choice rule is going to be a ladder match for the trios belt. And my partners would be Kenny Omega and Jeff Hardy.
Ooh, Jeff Daddy?
Jeff Daddy.
Jeff Daddy. Okay.
What about you? Do you know what Shadow Ranger's talking about?
I don't, but based on your answer, I could put together a good answer. Right. So I'm gonna do a street fight for the same title, the triples titles. And I'm picking I'm signing Enzo Amore. He's coming to AEW. He's gonna join me.
Why would you put Enzo in a street fight?
and Chris Jericho's coming with me too. That's who I'm picking.
All right, that's two weird guys to put in a street fight. That's fine. Let's do these last two questions and then wrap it up.
Okay, last two questions we have from Brian Knight. He says, hashtag Ask Matt Men. Better scenario: Cole turns on MJF and joins the Kingdom, or MJF turns on Cole and forms the Dynasty in AEW.
I don't. Oh, that's a good question. I do feel like Adam Cole should be the leader of a faction, like de facto. Does Adam Cole join possibly Bullet Club Gold? That would be kind of fun, because that was sort of teased last year with Jay White and him going, my friend Adam Cole, my friend Jay White, et cetera, et cetera. I've never been a fan of the Kingdom. No offense to anybody who likes him. If MJF turns on Cole, I don't think he needs a faction. I think he needs one when he loses the belt, but not now. It's a fair enough answer.
Yeah, no, that's a fair answer. And then last question from Chris Farrell. Will Punk versus Joe be for any titles, Rich?
I don't think so. I think that's just bragging rights. Since that Punk calling himself the real world champion is a throwback, and I really like it. And I think it's a great way to have some kind of belt representation on both shows. But that's going to end at some point. Who knows? Let's say if MJF retains that title, will you get MJF versus Punk in Chicago? I think that's the way to do it. And that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in. Andrew will be back next week. We'll be back on Friday. I want to thank MG, who lost his mind and lost his mic. I think he just broke it.
Yeah. He probably.
And I want to thank. Go ahead.
He probably just kicked the wire from underneath.
The
hooker that's underneath the desk pulled the wire.
I want to thank Jonathan for hanging out and reading the questions and being the third man. You were the Hogan today. You were the third man.
Yeah, no, and I'm dropping a leg drop on MG's mic. That's why you can't hear anything.
There we go. All right, guys. Love you all. See you soon. Remember, follow us on Twitter, Madman Podcast, at BTC Rich, at 2Fight Forever. And yours is just Jonathan Risk, right?
At Official Risk.
At Official Risk. There we go. RIZK. All right, guys. Later. Mwah.
Peace.